Good evening. This is a public meeting of the Lowell Zoning Board of Appeals for July 13th, 2015. Tonight we have three orders of business here. Our first petition is a special permit. This is ZB 2015-24. The applicant is Julio Rodriguez. The property is located at 9-15 Pearl Street, and the petition special permit for the conversion of an auto repair at 9 and 15 Pearl Street into 6 apartments in the downtown mixed-use zoning district. Is Mr. Rodriguez here? Okay. The board has been advised by the planning department that they've been in contact with Mr. Rodriguez, who's working on plans, and so Swati, it's my understanding that Mr. Rodriguez will be appearing before us on the 27th at our next meeting, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, if we could have a motion to continue to July 27th, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2015-024 for a special permit for 9-15 Pearl Street to continue to, what's the date?
27th.
July 27th.
Okay, so what I can tell you is, so Swati, gentleman has a question regarding, so were you down here for this particular petition? Okay. Are you in a butter? Okay. Could you explain to this gentleman what the process was?
Usually, if we receive an official letter, we post it on the city's website where we post all the information about that particular project. In this matter, since the hearing was not yet open, it was via email communication. We will in future try to post that on the website so that at least you can do a last minute check before you come over. Yes, but if you want to give me your contact information, I can make sure that it be emailed to you.
Sure. I saw your hand go up a couple of times, but I wasn't, since nobody else sat up, I wasn't sure you were here for that. Okay. Thank you, sir. Yep. So I believe we had a motion, and could I have a second, please?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bailey,
Continue to July 27th.
Mr. Callahan,
Continue to July 27th.
Mr. McCarthy,
Continue to July 27th.
Mr. Paglia,
Continue to July 27th.
Mr. Peck,
Continue July 27th.
Mr. Perrin.
Continue to July 27th.
Thank you.
Okay, our next petition is ZB 2015-25. The petition's a variance. The applicant is James Hang. The property is located at 20-22 Hillside Street, and the petition's a variance to maintain an existing structure without meeting proper setbacks pursuant to section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. Is the petitioner here? Mr. Hang? Yep. Can you come up to the podium, please? How are you, sir? Are you representing yourself tonight? I'm sorry?
I understand a little bit, yeah, but sorry about that. But
Okay, just a second. Are you with him, sir? Or? Okay. Is he here to represent himself? Yes. To your knowledge? Okay. And do you think he's going to be able to understand what we're doing here? Okay, okay. Okay, so my understanding is, so you're the property owner?
yes, sir.
Okay. And are you the one that also had the garage built?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So in our write-up and the paperwork that we received, I thought there was, who's Mark O'Hara? Okay, he doesn't know a Mr. O'Hara?
Mark O'Hara is the engineer who was retained by the applicant.
Yeah. The guy
You-
engineer, I think the guy engineer. do this
Okay.
one.
Has he been in the office at all, Mr. O'Hara?
Yes.
Okay. I thought, in reading through this, I thought maybe Mr. O'Hara was also going to be here. I guess not, right? Okay. Okay, so can you explain to us when you built the garage and how did you decide on the size of it?
យើងគាត់ថាពេលណាដែលយើងធ្វើហ្នឹងតាំងឆ្នាំប៉ុន្មាន Oh, okay. I go the company. He give me the bill that one.
Can you ask him,
2014.
Sir. Can you ask him to move the microphone closer, or he can get closer to the
Okay.
microphone? Yeah.
Sorry, sorry.
Okay, yeah,
That's my first time.
that's okay.
Okay. I 2014. The company come put the cut pen.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2014. 3/31. 2014.
So you hired a company to build that garage?
Cardboard. Yeah. The cardboard. Yeah.
He hired to build that carport before.
Yeah,
Before it was carport, it's not garage.
okay,
After
but,
that,
yeah,
almost 1 year, and he put the door. When he put the door, it just looked like garage. That's why.
so that's supposed to be a carport that looks like a garage.
Yes, sir. Carport. Now it put the door and look like a garage.
So it seems, well, I'm not gonna get ahead of the game, but, I guess Swati, I'll just mention this to you. It seems that we've had this before. If companies are being hired to do certain things, they're not going down to City Hall and pulling permits. Is that,
Unfortunately, in this event, a building permit was not pulled, so it was a building permit violation. This was done without a building permit.
so is the city considering this a permanent structure?
The way it is there right now,
Right.
yes.
Okay. Okay, so you hired the company, they come in and put a carport in.
Yes, sir.
You put doors on it, is that what you were saying?
Yeah, yes, sir. Because the people go steal something at the inside the car. Yeah.
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 So how did you decide on the size of the carport?
មិនបានជាហេតុអីបានជាយើងចង់ដាក់ទ្វារហ្នឹងទៅជាការ៉ាសហ្នឹង
Because the people the go steal something that in the backyard, my backyard, and chúng ta believe it đánh cháo mà việc đặt chỗ của anh.
Okay. Okay. He decided to put the door because someone just keep going to get his stuff from the backyard, and sometimes at night time the police catch somebody just run through his property. That's why when he put the door, and so no one can run across or hide something behind his property.
Okay,
That's why he decided.
okay. All right, so this was constructed in 2014. That's what the gentleman said, correct? So just last year it was put up, right?
Yeah, almost 2 years.
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah. And how many cars can he fit in there?
2 cars.
2 cars?
2 cars.
Is he using it for storage also?
He just put storage in there, so I don't see the car in there.
Okay. Okay. Does he have anything else he wants to tell us?
មិនចង់ប្រាប់គាត់ថាមិនទៀតទេ
ខ្ញុំចង់ប្រាប់ថាខ្ញុំចង់ទុកអាហ្នឹងសូមហ្នឹងហើយកុំឲ្យខ្ញុំរើចេញអីចឹង
Okay, he just want to ask the city decided he could keep it or he.
Okay.
Yes.
So what we're going to do now is, if there's nothing else that he wants to tell us at this point, we're going to open it up to the public, and then we'll open it up to the board, and then some of the board members may have questions for him, okay?
You let him know later.
Yeah, well, we'll know tonight what's going on. I just want to tell you the process, that's all. Okay, I'm going to open it up to the public. Anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor, in favor? Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? Opposition, opposition. Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. I'd like to open it up to the board. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any questions. I just have a couple of comments, because when I went out to the site yesterday, I met Mr. Heng happened to be there, so he explained to me much of what he has explained this evening. He built a carport a couple of years ago, and because of an increase in crime in the neighborhood, one of his neighbors across the street built some fencing around his yard because people had been cutting through. There's a couple of dead-end one-way streets in this neighborhood, and it looks like people have been using those to access people's yards and property, and then make a quick getaway. Not that that has anything to do with zoning necessarily, but he did explain to me the background. He built a carport and then decided to add the doors on it, and someone from the city came out and saw that it's really now a garage and no longer a carport. But he also mentioned to me when I was visiting his home yesterday that he's talked to both his abutting neighbors and his neighbors across the street, and they don't have an issue with the structure, although it is right up on the property line and along the fence of one of the abutters that, no one is here to speak in opposition, so I'm going to take Mr. Heng at his word that the neighbors don't have an issue with it. So, and then the other thing I'd like to add, which didn't really come up until tonight, is I think Mr. Heng made a good faith effort to improve his property. It's one of the most or better maintained homes on that street with new siding, and it's one of the better looking homes on the street. And I think, as you sort of alluded to, Mr. Chairman, a contractor who should know that they should just go to the building department and pull a permit, and then the building department would tell them, that they need to get a special permit or a variance, then Mr. Heng wouldn't even be here. So I don't know who the contractor was. I know we have a document from an engineer, but that may not be the same person. Again, I don't have any questions. I just wanted to make a couple of comments in regard to the petition. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Van?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I think that Mr. Heng's here tonight, and he's just trying to do the right thing procedurally. He's trying to rectify. He didn't know he needed a permit or a variance, so that's why he's here. And I do believe that this variance could be granted, and it won't be detrimental to the neighborhood or to the city. As Mr. Paglia said, the other abutters are not here to speak against this, so I assume they're in favor of this, or they don't mind this garage being built. So overall, I think this is a petition that could be approved, and I think he's trying to do the right thing by making his house and the neighborhood safer. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Van. Dennis?
Through Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask, do you have a copy of the comments from the planning department that basically?
That was emailed to the engineer
To the
Who-
engineer?
Yes, and I have email from the engineer saying that was sent to him, and that the owner will be representing himself at the meeting.
Okay, so you do have a copy of this?
Yes, sir.
I guess I don't understand how the carport got converted into a garage. I'm against the carport to begin with because I think that the carport violates zoning, and I don't think the scale of it's correct for the neighborhood. I understand you have a security issue. Security issues, I think, could be handled with fencing. I don't think you have to have a garage to create the obstacle for people stealing things in your yard. But in addition to that, this garage encloses windows to rooms that are on the first floor. So you have rooms that open into the garage. I don't know how that even works as an occupied space anymore, if those rooms are meant to have natural ventilation or worse, have egress for fire safety for bedrooms. So I'm a little nervous about the construction of the garage from a safety standpoint for how you inhabit the first floor. Do you live on the first floor?
គាត់ថាធ្វើហ្នឹងជាន់ទី1ហ្នឹងវាបិទប្រួចគេនៅជាន់ទី1ក៏ទៅដេកដែរប៉ុន្តែខាងក្រៅដាក់ជាងណា
អត់ណាអត់អញ្ចឹងអត់បិទប្អូចណាបើក
No
ប្អូច
យើងថាជាងក្រោយក្រៅវាដាក់
អត់បង yes I have that picture
Okay, he said garage, yeah, the carport become two garage on the front door, but the back wall don't have it open. It open.
The back of it is
wall,
open.
that's it. No wall, just the front door. That's it. Then open the door, just go through to the backyard. No door, no.
Okay, so we have a roof and
Only roof
three
and the
sides, and one of the four sides is
one
open.
side
But three sides are enclosed. One's being the house, one's the front doors, one is this side, that's the metal siding.
One of the
So
house.
one of the four sides is open.
Right.
I think that's still a violation of egress requirements for occupied spaces if they're especially bedrooms. I don't see how that would fly. So I think from a building code standpoint, I don't know how this garage would even fly being attached like this.
Even with a variance, just from a safety concern, the building inspector wouldn't be, allowing the structure to be there, because it's not just the setback that is the problem. There is concern about the windows that are opening into that. Yes, that is a problem.
That is a problem.
Yes.
I think that's a safety concern for the
Yes.
residents that are on the first floor.
Ideally, if this was a standalone carport, which just got covered on all three sides, it would have been just exclusively a zoning
Right.
dimensional requirement violation. This is more than that because it's attached to the existing building.
I wonder if it's possible to look at the possibility of taking the sides and the front down, putting a metal fencing kind of thing, and reverting it back to a carport, if you will, and getting rid of and getting it back to the open air aspect. Even though that's still a violation, it's an improvement, I think, over this condition that you've created for the inhabitants at the first floor. I don't like the idea of contractors building structures that are in violation of setbacks and zoning without getting a variance, and then building it without getting a permit to construct it. And that's a real problem I think we have in the city. I'm sorry it happened to you. I'm sorry that it happened to you. I think that that's unfortunate, because you seem like a very caring and concerned person here. And I think that what we have, though, is a problem for the neighborhood. I don't see how me personally, could see a variance meeting the criteria for a variance. Getting to a zero setback, you're at less than a foot in a neighborhood that requires a setback of 10 feet. I'm going to listen to my other members of the board here, but I don't see how I can support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, a question for the petitioner. Do you recall the name of the company that put this carpool up?
I'm sorry.
Does he remember the name of the company that put this
Yes,
carport
I
up?
have,
Yes,
yes, sir.
He have the copy right there.
When,
That they-
when I put
before
it,
they build the carport.
he said, don't worry about everything. I say, I don't know the English, that's why. He said, okay, don't worry, I go put everything here.
See,
You know,
mind if we take a look at that document?
I don't know, you know, that's, I don't know, no.
Cho tôi có bán copy đó.
Thank you. I knew you had these, you were trying to give us some documents, and I noticed a reflection of when you were, I as well, I went by the house as well. I certainly understand what your intentions were, and I do understand trying to make a secured space to keep rebel rousers and the like out of your property. The concern I have is, perhaps through you, Mr. Chairman, to Swathi, what would be the remedy, or is there a remedy, or outside of the comments that the city has made from the building department? What's Mr. Heng's remedy to perhaps bring this up to code for safety?
I cannot speak on behalf of the building inspector's requirements because it has, it's one thing when it's a carport, it's a totally different thing once it has been covered, especially with the door. So I can get comments from the building inspector who issued the violation on this property and brought this to our attention. When I had the discussion with the building inspector, he was ideally saying this, although it is open in the backside, not having even a minimum of passage of 3 feet around the building, because once it's attached to the building, in the event there is a fire hazard or something, there isn't even room to move around that structure once it's covered.
Correct.
So they are not comfortable retaining that structure the way it is. As Mr. McCarthy mentioned, should it be reverted back to a carport, at least it provides more openness to the site and an additional fence maybe. So it's kind of like two problems. One, the fact that there is zero setback, which even for an accessory structure like a deck or a pool, we require 5 feet. So that's as per the zoning code, even if it was up to 5 feet, although we actually need 15 feet on that side because the other side setback is only 10 feet. So combined together, ideally it should be 25 feet. To make it 25 feet, we are looking at a 15 feet. We have no problem if it gets reverted back to a carport with at least a 5 feet setback. It would, provide the sufficient passage space of 3 feet around the structure. So I don't know the exact solution. Even with that, because a building permit was not pulled for the carport, we don't know if it is structurally stable as a carport. So, and that will be something that's entirely under the building code requirements.
I mean, my issue is twofold. It goes back to our concerns of this board, of these out-of-town construction firms coming into our city, putting carports up without the proper building permit, and quite frankly, in my opinion, taking advantage of both our citizens as well as our process. And it's been extremely frustrating for me as a board member over the years, because the end result is Mr. Heng has come here in good faith. The property is well maintained. He has the windows and siding, and he takes pride in his property. And now to his detriment, as a result of shoddy construction firm, he's now faced with a building that's is essentially a fire safety hazard. It's not up to code. I didn't see any footings or any security to the base of the building, and then I have the concerns of how it's attached, and then, as my colleagues mentioned, how it's essentially wrapped around a window, which to me is a little concerning. Here again, we have a citizen reaching out to us after he's had, I don't know the monetary value that's been placed on this out of pocket, but, go ahead.
I may make a comment. It became more of a problem once the carport got covered
Gotten
up.
closed.
That's what really made this a real problem. Until then, there are other instances where it has just remained as carport, and it hasn't created a safety concern. So leaving it the way it is, even if the board chooses to take such a decision, I am not sure the building department will be able to retain it if it structurally proves to be unsafe.
And
For his own safety too. We don't want to find it out the
The end
costly
result
way.
with me, the end result is safety. If truly it is a safer structure as a carport, then we're looking at the variance for the setback. Just the frustration for me, once again, is it's a very big city. I know that the building department and the inspectors, they're overwhelmed and they're understaffed. I requested to look at this document because, quite frankly, I've burned a couple of these contractors into my memory. So as I look this, I'm sure this company from North Carolina isn't too well concerned about our city zoning code, as well as Mr. Hang's financial situation that he now finds himself in. So I do have the safety concerns, and then, my heart does go out from the financial piece of this. The monies that have gone into this to get it to where it's at, and now the detriment of the financial loss to bring it back, and then he's basically at step one. So, I do share the same personal concerns that Mr. Hang is here in good faith, trying to move forward with this particular petition. But once again, the board is put in a position where the horse is out of the barn, so to speak. And outside the comments that we received from the city, it doesn't seem like there's a real positive outcome for all parties here, which is extremely disconcerting to me when these fly-by-night companies come into our city and again do this to our citizens. So I wish I just had a little bit more information on the reverse process of what's going to happen here if this doesn't move forward. I know he has to go back to the building permit and the entire process, but the financial burden to me is it's unacceptable that this has happened again to one of our citizens. So I'll have to just reread my notes here, and that's all I have right now, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To you, Swathi, just a quick question. Looking at the board's the DPD's comments, the recommendation was by DPD that an oversight, a garage for a single-car garage that meets the dimensional requirements be constructed. Not that I think that may or may not be accomplished, understanding the dimensions we're dealing with. And just speaking with the building department, would that be something that's something that may be possible? I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's...
So he has sufficient, as I said, if the building inspector finds that structure, whether as a carport or as a garage, structurally unsafe, because the whole process of having a building permit pulled is that a safe and whatever structural element, temporary or long-term or permanent, meets the building code standards. And the reason why that is needed is to basically to safeguard the time, money, and safety of whoever is residing in there. That didn't happen in this case. So my comments was basically in the event if this is not approved to stand like this, I was ideally denoting that sufficient space is there for them to pursue a single car garage. And that seemed to be the intent once the carport got, covered and with the garage door in the front. That seemed to be the intent, to change that into a garage. The garage does not have to extend 35 feet to the back. That is definitely not the standard size. We are looking at usually like at 20 to 22 feet depth into a car space. So that can bring that setback much higher than the 0.1 feet we have there right now.
Yeah.
So leaving a 5 feet clearance there is an option to have a single car garage go in there, meeting the building code standards, definitely with a building permit. Or even a carport, if it has to be restructured, reinforced in some way, that size there is not a good idea, what they have there, without even 1 foot.
Thank you. I'm just, I again commend Mr. Heng for appearing here and trying to do doing what's right, but, again, my heart bleeds when he's put in this position that he has to come before the board to, undo what has been done, apparently. But I share the concerns of, Board Member McCarthy and Board Member Perrin regarding what's been done at this point, and there are certainly the safety issues as far as the building itself, the structure itself, at the point as constructed, are of grave concern. And I just trying to wish that we could find some other options for Mr. Heng to try to maybe set things right so we're in compliance with the zoning board and with the zoning ordinances, and hopefully try to alleviate some of the financial burden that they'll have to take on this. So that's all I really had to say on that. So, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sean. Okay. So I think a few things here. Obviously, we know the structure, there was never a building permit issued, correct? Okay, and we've had a code inspector out there or not yet?
Yes, we had a building inspector who basically, issued the violation notice and informed us about its location with regard to not having the sufficient setback.
Right. So I guess based on that, we've had somebody out there from a building inspector or
Yes.
code inspector went out and said that we have problems. So, I mean, my first thing is going to be, I think we want to continue this because I don't think we're going to get anything done tonight because, well, at least I don't think we're going to get anything done tonight. So Swathi, so if the inspector's already been out there, did he submit a report that said what failed?
No, he basically informed them that this is usually, if something like this needs to go through a building permit,
Yep.
it first has to be granted a relief from the board since it is coming into the required setback for the property. So I can definitely see.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is
Sure.
we know it doesn't pass on no building permit and the structure doesn't pass code to begin with. The gentleman's in here because the structure requires a variance because it doesn't meet any of the conditions that the city has, correct?
Yes.
So the way I'm looking at this is, what really needs to be done with the structure now? How can the existing structure be how does it become code enforceable or a building permit is issued? And then second of all, it sounds like then it may still have variances that have to be passed through us. Now, and this whole thing about carports, if I recall, it's all about size is why people end up coming in here, correct? It isn't necessarily, I mean, is a carport, usually it's, I call them more temporary structures that are,
Carports
Put up.
also require building permit right now. It's not
okay,
just
so every
garage.
carport that's come in here that we've had has got a building permit?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
because we've had other individuals come in, they didn't know they had to come here, and I thought then it became a
Well,
size
city
issue.
has provided all this information under the building department's website. All the residents are, we are an open, 8 to 5 office where we have residents walk in, come in, ask questions, get answers. I don't know how much further the city can do anything further. I understand the frustration. But for us to find out every time something happens, there are a few instances when it's after the fact kind of situation. So the city is doing what they can from their side in terms of, all these facts on the website. Do I need a building permit if I'm putting up a deck, a pool, a carport, a garage? So the city is trying, I understand that. I can definitely share the report from the building inspector. I am not sure if he will have like a structural report done, because usually when a building permit is provided, it's usually the contractor who provides the specifications of that structure that goes in there to show that what they're putting in there meet the code requirements. I can check if if it's in the inspector's report, if he has analyzed that. There are cases in which sometimes a third party is hired to give that inspection to the city if it's questionable.
Yeah, because obviously, I mean, if I sat here today, I'd say, I'm denying this thing because it doesn't, just based on what we need to look at.
Sure.
Unless I said to the gentleman, okay, you need to pull it apart, and you got to reduce it here and reduce it there, and it's like, it's almost like saying, reduce it, then you're going to pull it off the house anyways to.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I will be really happy
But
to.
how do I know by having somebody start pulling it apart that it's going to pass
I can
the
have
building inspecting?
Yeah, I can have a discussion with the building commissioner and check with him what the next steps are from their side in the event they find the structure
Sure.
stable.
So that's why I'm
Sure, continuing
just
it. Sure.
suggesting, because to be honest with you, when I first saw this come before us, I did call Joe and I said, well, why is it coming here when the structure's already there? And why weren't other things already taken care of before it came here? But
Sure.
so we probably need a couple of meetings, or do you think the building inspector would have anything in 2 weeks or not?
If that item, if the, structural integrity of the structure has been identified or analyzed in the report, I see no further, delay other than one more meeting where I can share that with the board and the applicant.
And somebody else mentioned, I know in the write-up on the comments here from the city, it said, to basically break this down into a one-car carport, I guess. There's no way of having a carport that would fit 2 cars?
So a carport is considered as an accessory structure. And for an accessory structure, anything other than a shed, which is more than 200 square feet, automatically triggers the need for a building permit. So a 2-car carport triggers that.
So this is multifamily also, right?
Yes.
So I wondered before the structure was put up, how many cars they were able to park in that spot? I mean, you'd almost think they could at least get 2 cars in there, right?
It's a different requirement when you're just paving an off-street
Right.
parking space. And
Yeah,
it's a
I mean,
different
I'm not
requirement.
suggesting pulling the whole thing down, but I was thinking about this. Usually, we're looking for as much parking as we can, especially with multifamilies. So when I saw in fact, on one of the pictures that the applicant gave us, this one here where the doors aren't on, I mean, when I look at that straight on, it looks like you could get 2 cars in there.
Yes, but that is larger than what's considered as an accessory structure.
Yeah, right,
So,
okay. All right, so if we're gonna continue this, we're gonna ask for a report from the building inspector, correct?
Yes.
And obviously, you know, as I tell everybody else, I'd like to see the report before we come to the meeting.
absolutely.
So at that point, if we get something from the building inspector, what's the board's feelings on what do we do next? Does anybody have any comments on that? Yep.
Well, I just have a general comment. If we're going to continue this matter, Mr. Chairman, you know, like you said, I would like to see the report, but also, if possible, if someone from the building department maybe can attend the meeting, either an inspector or just a request to see if someone can come down and just talk to us. And also, I just wanted to through you, Mr. Chairman, I wanted to give the applicant some suggestions. Currently, they don't have a contractor, so I would suggest that you get in touch with a local contractor or a contractor in general to see what could be done, and maybe, like, I think you get the tone of the meeting that the structure itself is just maybe unsafe, unsound, too big. So hire a contractor and draw several plans and blueprints, and then submit them with details, so that way it'd be something more favorable to the city. That's all I want to say.
Okay, Van. Mike?
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, Mr. Chairman, again, I guess I hadn't considered the safety concerns initially, and now that that is a concern of mine, but I go back to what I said in my initial comments. I mean, Mr. Hang was taken advantage of by an out-of-state contractor. Just as easily could have been a Lowell contractor or a Drake contractor. It just happens to be some firm from North Carolina. So I would just like to, in addition to the building department's report, I would like either the building department or the planning office or both to reach out to Mr. Hang. In addition to just getting a report on what's wrong with the structure, I would like someone from the city to actually give him if there are any options, or if there's only one option, just some suggestions on what can and should be done, as opposed to just putting it all in his lap, because I'm bothered by the fact that this structure was built and Mr. Hang paid for it and assumed in good faith that it was being done properly. And again, he has a very well-maintained property on a street that is filled with what I'm guessing are not owner-occupied units and are not very well-maintained, probably by out-of-town landlords. But Mr. Hang is taking care of his property and was trying to improve it and add some safety features, and just got caught by an unscrupulous developer. So I'd just like the city, as much as we can, to help him modify the structure so that even if it's not quite up, even if he still needs a variance after it's been modified, that we would be more inclined to grant it. So, thanks.
Okay. Do you have anything, Dennis?
I just have one concern, of course, is if the result of this next step is that you want to continue pursuing the enclosure with the front doors and the side panels that exist right now, that you bring to the meeting a clear understanding of the rooms inside the structure adjacent to the garage, the home itself, and how they open onto or how they're serviced, so that there's no misunderstanding as to how the garage impacts the dwelling unit that's adjacent to it. Does that make sense?
អត់ដែរបាទក៏ដាក់អត់ដាក់អញ្ចឹងដែរដាក់តាមមុខពីរហ្នឹង
He not that gonna put the wall on the back, so he just leave it open like that and just put the door on there. That's it.
I don't believe the wall missing on the back is enough for it to be considered an open structure. I think more than 50% of it has to be open, and right now, 25% of it's open, so I don't think that qualifies, I believe. We can consult with the building inspector, but I think in order for the rooms to be dwelling units that have sleeping rooms or something maybe that might be like a room that requires natural ventilation, you can't have a garage adjacent to it. But in the event that you want to continue that path, I'd like to just have a clear understanding of the rooms inside the structure that's adjacent to the garage.
មានប្រួយតែមួយទេក្នុង
ក្នុង
A floor plan would be
ជាង
helpful.
ផ្ទះហ៎
ជាងទេ
មានតែមួយតា
មានតែមួយ
ប្រួយមួយប៉ុន្តែអាចបើកបានតា
Yeah.
Yeah can open Yeah
Okay,
អាចបើកបាន
He said the bedroom it's easy to open the only one window
Okay.
and he said what
It's a code issue, I think, more than a practical issue, and so I think I'd like to see a floor plan of the resident, of the floor, of the structure, a map of the rooms of the home,
you want to see the structure in
a floor plan, an arrangement of how the rooms are inside the home on the first level, a floor plan.
ប្លង់នៅក្នុងផ្ទះហើយកតុកហ្នឹងរៀងមិនវ៉កទៅ
For the next meeting.
Go in straight
I understand. For the next meeting, if you could just prepare that document to submit,
ថាម៉េច
it would be helpful to have that. That's all. Thank you.
ប្លង់ហ្នឹង
I'll look in the building department's folder when the building permit was pulled for the structure, if we have a floor plan. Sometimes the assessor's office also has that, so I'll try to look from our end also.
That'd be great.
Sure.
Also, yep. You got anything else, Gary?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chairman, I just want to ensure that this process of variances and applications and zoning codes and building codes and floor plans and the like is, it's a tedious process on its own. When we add these variables of these types of commercial builders coming into the city and taking advantage of our citizens, which has happened on numerous occasions. I think that Mr. Hung here tonight has demonstrated his good faith. He has a good friend and neighbor here helping him. I strongly feel that on our end, as a board in the city, I think we need to help the petitioner here to fully understand all the information that was given to him tonight. While he's here tonight presenting his case to us, there hasn't been any ability for him to understand through translation everything that's coming at him by all the board members, so that he, in fairness to him, he fully understands. So I would like to see from the city side, once we put this narrative together, that a copy is given to him and he understands it through his neighbor or through someone that can help him outside of another contractor that may or may not be in the best interest of the city or the petitioner. I know we generally write up a narrative and there's back and forth between the petitioner and DPD, but I think in this particular case, I think we need to enhance our ability to have the petitioner fully understand what we're looking at. Is if you take a look at the amount of money that he's out of pocket already at this point, it's a substantial amount of money, and I truly have a lot of concern that that's not going to be translated correctly. So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Like I said, it's hard enough to come in here understanding the process, and having an understanding of zoning, being represented by a builder or a contractor or some, in most cases, an attorney. But Mr. Hain came in here tonight under his own volition after the citation, and it's difficult as a board member to look across to the petitioner and see there's confusion here, and I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, that he gets as much help as he possibly can, because there is a language barrier there. Quite frankly, I think that's how we got here, with these types of people coming into our city, which obviously I can't stress enough that I'm at my wit's end with it. So I just want to make sure that the petitioner is comfortable and how things are explained to him. If we can just give him that added extra step. His kind neighbor here today is obviously a good neighbor and a good friend. So I do appreciate that, and I want to make sure that things are dealt with appropriately.
The city will be only happy to facilitate a meeting with him and the building department. We are always welcome to him bringing a translator if that would make it easier for him.
Certainly.
I'm not sure the city will be able to provide a translator for him, so he's more than welcome to bring someone. I had a conversation with Mr. O'Hara, Mark, and I believe he understood our concerns. I was hoping he would be at this meeting, but
Frankly, he should have been here tonight.
yes, but it was the building owner who decided that he's going to represent himself. So it was nothing because of
No, I
him.
understand.
Mark O'Hara may not be at fault here. He
No,
is the
I'm
civil
not-
engineer that did the layout that showed the document, right?
Certainly no, there's no intentions on putting any citation on
Right.
blame towards any professional. I think there's just a touch of there's some disconnect and lack of understanding of the nature of the situation. So I just want to make sure that that's explained to our citizen here. Thank you.
Sean, anything else? Yep. Okay, so I guess we're back to where I started before I asked everybody to chime in. So is 2 weeks enough time based on all the discussion we had? If everybody feels confident, that's okay with me.
What's the date?
July 27th, be in 2 weeks.
Yep.
So everybody's comfortable with that? No concerns? It seems to me there's a lot of information being discussed. That's why I'm hesitant about 2 weeks, but if everybody else is comfortable, then.
I believe the report should be already available because based on that only they can issue a violation citation to the property owner. I definitely, don't need more than 1 week to facilitate a meeting with him.
Okay, all right. If you're
Sure.
comfortable.
And I will keep the
I just want
board
to make
updated.
sure everybody's comfortable instead of.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, just I'm not going to be here on the 27th, just to let the board know. So,
All right, John.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have excuse me, can I have a motion, please?
Through Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2015-025 for a variance for 20-22 Hillside Ave for a continuance to meeting on July 27th.
And could I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bailey,
Continue to July 27th.
Mr. McCarthy,
Continue to July 27th.
Mr. Paglia,
Continue to July 27th.
Mr. Peck,
Continue July 27th.
Mr. Perrin.
Continue to July 27th.
Thank you.
Okay, if you could tell Mr. Hang, did you follow what we were just discussing?
Okay, so ban này là bị tiêu tiêu.
Thằng ta ngay tiếng paper. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, so hopefully we'll see Mr. Hang in 2 weeks. Swathi's department will be getting in touch with Mr. Hang, so hopefully in 2 weeks we'll have more information and we'll sit down and discuss it then. Okay, sir?
Okay.
Thằng màu này vậy?
He would like to ask if he come back here or wait over there for to see building inspection. Someone gonna see him at his house?
No.
So he just wait for 2 weeks at July 27th.
No.
Okay, so
I don't understand. Yeah,
don't worry.
sorry.
I'm going to call you at this number you have denoted here, 978-735-8060.
Yes.
and we will try to have a meeting at the office here, along with the building inspector.
Okay.
We will discuss the matters of concern, and I will share the report from the building inspector regarding the structural stability of the structure you have on your property. And then we come back to a meeting in 2 weeks' time here,
Okay.
okay? And you can come into our office any day
Okay.
between 8 and 5.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you my card as well.
Okay.
You can email me or come in anytime and we can discuss this,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
I was primarily communicating with Mr. O'Hara because he was the representative.
I might want, there's a name on the,
Thank you so much.
on the sheets that were submitted.
Thank you.
Charles Otto of Essex, and I believe they're out of Methuen, Mass. It might make sense to have a representative of the builder with you to meet with the building inspector so that maybe he could submit plans. I'm just suggesting that sometimes you can get him to attend a meeting and help supply the documents the building inspector is going to need to see. Especially if you put a foundation system in and built it maybe even to code. It might be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, and I doubt the builder's going to want to return any calls or come to any meetings at this point, but
Okay, we're all set? Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. Yep, have a good evening. Thank you. Okay, our next matter before us is ZB 2015-26. This is a special permit. The applicant is Philadelphia Sign Company. The property is located at 17 Wilder Street. Petition special permit to change a manual pricing sign to a digital pricing sign for Speedway pursuant to section 6.3 of the zoning ordinance. And is it Wilder or is it Pawtucket?
The assessor's records, it's 17 Wilder.
Okay. Okay, so we're going with 17 Wilder? Yep. All right,
You were very kind to those gentlemen.
well, thank you. You were very patient to sit there. Okay, I guess, I think it's obvious why you're here, but could you tell us some more detail, please?
Sure. For the record, my name is Heather Dudko, and I'm representing Philadelphia Sign. The Hess gas stations are changing their name to Speedway, so we're doing a rebranding of several hundred locations. And in the, since they need to rebrand the signs, they're asking the municipalities for permission to upgrade their manual pricing boards to the digital pricing boards. I'm sure everyone on the board has seen them. They're safety, they're better for safety for employees for changing the pricing, especially in the wintertime. They don't need to go up on the ladders and do that. So some municipalities, they're not allowed, but we did speak with Joe, and he directed us to apply for the special permit for the new technology. The board will fit in the existing frame, so there'll be no structural change to the sign, there'll be no increase in size, there'll be no increase in height, and there'll be no movement of the structure. The top panel will be refaced, the pricing board will be refaced with the new LED boards, and then the bottom panel will be refaced to a manual reader board. That's about the extent of it.
Okay. And this particular type of reader board, has your company done anything locally?
Not in the city. We
Yeah.
are addressing the location across the street, but there's some historic issues with that. So that will look a little different than this
Right.
location on
Yeah,
Wilder Street.
I didn't think we haven't had anything like, yeah, okay, so this is the first one, huh?
Yes.
Wow. A lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure. So the numbers, as you know, there's no movement, no flashing, no rotation. They're a stagnant digit. If the gas prices were to never change, the sign itself would never change.
Yeah.
But as we know, the prices do change. Sometimes they go down. And the act of changing the digit is like a nanosecond, so to the naked eye, you would not see it change if you were watching it.
So is everything controlled within the store, or is
It
it?
is within the store.
Okay, yeah, okay. All right, anything else you'd like to add?
No.
Nope, okay. All right, first thing we'll do is open it up to the public. Anyone here like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone here like to speak in opposition? Opposition. Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. I'll open it up to the board. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any questions or comments. Seems like a pretty straightforward application, and as was confirmed by the petitioner, the prices won't be flashing or rotating, so it'll just be a set dollar amount until it needs to be changed. I am concerned about the rebranding to Speedway. You know, Pawtucket Avenue is already a Speedway, and now that we're putting a sign up there, you know, telling people.
I thought you were going to be concerned about the Hess trucks. There's no more Hess trucks.
Yeah, there goes my Christmas present every year. Yeah, the little plastic Hess truck. But I don't have any questions or concerns, Mr. Chairman, other than some backhanded comments or offhanded comments. Thank you.
So you're in opposition to Speedway, so. Okay.
I'm not a marketing guru. I'm sure Dennis will speak to whether or not it's a good name change or not.
Okay.
For the record, the ownership has not changed, so they're still owned by Hess Retail, so it's just a name change.
All right. Okay, thank you, Mike. Van?
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Dennis?
Through Mr. Chairman, I just have a couple of questions. You said refaced panels, so to me that means that the lighting system that currently exists on the top panel where the logo is changing and on the bottom panel where it's a manual board remains the same as it currently is? And what is the source of that?
I don't know for sure, but I would believe that it was fluorescent, if I were to guess, the existing.
Okay. So we're maintaining fluorescent fixtures and adding LED.
Correct.
What is the bottom panel, the manual board? What is the point of that?
Well, they have the Hess Express panel there now on the left, and they are not maintaining a lot of auxiliary signage on their signs. So if there's a panel that says Hess Express or Dunkin' Donuts, or if there's a ATM inside, they're eliminating those auxiliary names so that the signs will only read Speedway with the pricing board.
But we're maintaining the panel on there now. We're not eliminating it, at least as the way you presented this.
As I understand it, that's what they like to do.
But we don't know what's going on it.
Well, they won't put anything there.
It'll just be bright lights at night? One big bright white box?
I don't know now that you asked me that. I don't think I've ever been asked the question.
I don't think I like the idea of a big bright white box there.
That can be removed, if you'd like to have that removed.
Why don't we say that that panel will remain dark
Okay.
unless there's a requirement, and maybe you can come back before the board
Okay.
if you want to have a new sign added there.
Sure. Yep.
And then you're only going to have unleaded and premium? You're not going to have regular gas for sale?
No.
And your price is $8
Well,
and 88
I know,
cents?
$8.88.
Gallon.
We'd hope that would go down, right?
All right, thank you very much.
You're
All
welcome.
set.
So one guy doesn't like the name, the other guy
One
doesn't like the
with
price.
prices.
Wow. Okay, so did we, what was your, you asked for a condition on the
Bottom panel,
bottom.
not
What
be
are we going to do with
illuminated.
it?
Not remain dark.
It's going to remain there, but
Remain
not
dark.
be lit.
Not be lit.
Or illuminated, yeah. Okay, thank you. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I echo the same concerns that Mr. McCarthy echoed. Hoping to see the entire thing go LED, but obviously, that wasn't the intention here. I think the backdrop on keeping that lower board was for probably future business and aspects, so I do appreciate the condition of maintaining that dark. You know, as always, your petition is well detailed, so.
Thank you. I can suggest that I can, offer it to the sign installer if there's an opportunity to change out the existing lighting, if it's not LED, to LED. I can offer that. And perhaps there's a way to do that easily, I don't know.
Okay, good. Yep.
Yeah, if he's in that light, he's in that line already changing to LED, it seems.
Yeah.
Just as a matter of course, it's
Yeah.
worth looking at. We're always, as we move forward in this board particularly,
I do
we're always
remember
looking for
that.
We're always looking for the LED exchange, so I wish you the best, and I'm glad that's only a marketing 888. Best of luck.
I'm glad I
Thank
don't
you.
work for Speedway.
Yeah. Thank you, Gary. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any questions or concerns.
Okay. So one of the comments that came back from the city, which I hope you have, I hope you received it, but maybe you have in front of you. Talks about did anybody ask about hours of illumination? I don't believe so, right? So do you know what the hours of illumination are for this site?
I do not, unfortunately. I would assume, which is probably not a good thing to do, but that they would shut it off when they're closed. I don't believe they're open 24 hours.
Yeah, that was, and that's how the question, not the question, but the statement here as far as proposed hours of illumination. I mean, I'm not familiar if it's open 24 hours a day.
I don't believe it is. So they can, if you want to restrict the timing at, when they close to 15 minutes or at close 15, half an hour.
Yeah, I'll leave that. Any board members have any comments on that? I mean, we've entertained this enough times that I'd like to be consistent, but is that?
Through Mr. Chairman, I suggest we make a condition that the lights be shut 30 minutes after closure, as in previous petitions.
Yeah. Okay, is that
That's
okay
fine.
with you? Okay. All right. And besides Dennis's condition, anybody else have anything else? I don't think I heard anything else. So based on the presentation that was given this evening and the discussion with the board, I believe the petitioners met the criteria for a special permit. I know we have 6 different criteria to follow. Not all of the criteria fall within the sign, but I believe, and there's no neighborhood opposition here regarding brightness or anything like that. And Swati, no other comments from any other city departments on this? Okay. So hopefully with the brand name change and the new sign, the business will prosper and all those other things. So with that said, could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2015-026 for a special permit for 17 Wilder Street to change the manual pricing sign to digital pricing sign for Speedway with the following 2 conditions. First condition is that the bottom panel that, as presented, is not used remain not lit. And second condition that the hours of illumination be limited to no more than 30 minutes after closing.
Okay, could I have a second?
Second the motion.
Have a roll call.
Mr. Bailey,
Approve with conditions.
Mr. McCarthy,
Approve with conditions.
Mr. Paglia,
Approved with conditions.
Mr. Peck,
Approved conditions.
Mr. Perrin.
Approve with conditions.
Thank you.
Okay, you've been approved with conditions.
Thank you
Wish
very
best of
much.
luck. Good
Thank you.
seeing you. Have a good evening. Okay, looks like we have no other matters before us. Anybody have any comments, questions? So next meeting will be on the 27th. So we have 2 continuances from tonight, right? And is this new stuff for the 27th, or is it?
Actually, Pearl Street, the item that got continued, the first item that got
Okay.
continued, the plans are ready.
So it'll be just the 2 continuances for the 27th?
So far that I know, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I like your confidence, Swati. Okay, could I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
Second?
So moved.